Hi, my name is Major Cohen, and I work at Starbucks Coffee in the coffee department as a senior coffee education specialist. And I'm thrilled today to be at the Culinary Institute of America Greystone campus. And as you can imagine, today we're going to talk coffee. Now, I want to begin by talking a little bit about Robusta and Arabica, two names that you might have heard of that refer to types of coffee. Robusta is generally known as a lesser quality coffee. So today we're going to talk about Arabica coffee. And Arabica coffee comes from places all around the world, generally between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, countries whose names you know: Colombia, Costa Rica, Sumatra, Sulawesi. So let's take a look at how coffee is grown and processed. Today we're coming to you from a Starbucks in Seattle, Washington, the coffee capital of the world. It's not called that because coffee is grown here, but because Seattle is where the artisanship of selecting, roasting, and brewing the perfect cup of coffee sparked a worldwide phenomenon. Millions of people around the world love to start their day with a great cup of coffee, but few know the time, effort, and care it takes to get that coffee into the cup. Coffee beans actually begin as the seeds of coffee cherries that grow on coffee trees. Most of the world's coffee is grown between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn in three main regions: Latin America, Asia Pacific, and Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. The soil, climate, and altitude that a coffee tree is exposed to during growth will directly affect the flavor of the beans it produces. Coffee buyers for Starbucks travel more than 500,000 miles per year, and every day of the year, a Starbucks coffee buyer is on a coffee farm somewhere in the world, sharing best practices and looking for special coffees. The growth of a pound of coffee does not come easily. It takes about 5 years before a coffee tree produces a harvestable crop of cherries, and each tree only produces the equivalent of 1 pound of roasted beans per year. Coffee cherries are picked by hand and sorted for processing. To extract the green coffee beans from the cherries, farmers process them using either the natural or the washed method. Through the natural method, ripe coffee cherries are allowed to dry on the trees or on the ground before the beans are removed by hulling. Through the washed method, the beans are immediately separated from the cherries using a depulper and transported to fermentation tanks. Next, they're dried using mechanical dryers or out on a drying patio. The green coffee beans are then put in large burlap sacks in preparation for delivery to the roasting plant. In a constant effort to ensure the continued growth of high-quality coffee, promote equitable relationships with farmers, and protect the environment, Starbucks takes an integrated approach to buying coffee. That integrated approach is made up of 6 key points: paying premium prices to help coffee farmers make profits and support their families, investing in loan guarantees, which allows thousands of farmers access to affordable credit, investing in social development projects such as schools and medical clinics in coffee communities, purchasing certified and conservation coffees. This means that we buy fair trade certified, certified organic, and shade-grown coffee. Maintaining a farmer support center in Costa Rica where we collaborate with farmers and help them develop and share best practices for growing coffee responsibly. And encouraging participation in CAFE practices. This stands for Coffee and Farmer Equity Practices, our set of responsible coffee buying guidelines. So the next time you're relaxing with your favorite cup of Starbucks coffee, consider the journey it's made, and remember, with every sip you're getting a taste of another part of the world. I'm Major Cohen. See you next time. So we've been talking a lot about growing and processing, but if you think about it for a second, all we've really done is gotten the seed of that beautiful red fruit that you saw out. And now comes the most important step, which is to cook this coffee or roast it. And the chef, if you will, is going to play a really important part in how this coffee is going to taste later on. So let's take a look at how coffee is roasted. Today we're coming to you from Starbucks headquarters in Seattle, Washington. Trapped inside every green coffee bean is the flavor and character of the region that produced it. It's in the roasting process where the personality and inherent qualities of each bean are set free. Roasting allows for the hundreds of chemical compounds inside of each bean to combine and meld together into that signature Starbucks flavor. Roasting coffee is a science as well as an art. It's a delicate dance that involves time, heat, moisture, and temperature. The way a coffee is roasted determines its flavor, aroma, body, color, and acidity. A coffee roaster is made of a large rotating drum which is heated. Think of it as a cross between a hot air popcorn popper and a giant clothes dryer. This is a small roaster, used to roast about 20 pounds. while the process of roasting coffee in our roasting plants is tremendous in terms of size and scale, anywhere from 600 to 900 pounds at a time. The artisanship and attention we give to each and every roast remains the same. These are what coffee beans look like before they're roasted. It's almost hard to believe that these hard seeds will make the transformation into amazingly flavorful and aromatic roasted coffee beans. We begin by charging the roaster, which means allowing the coffee to fall into the drum. After about 5 to 7 minutes of intense heat, much of the moisture inside of the bean evaporates and the beans change color, and they smell a little bit like buttery vegetables. It's an interesting aroma, but nothing at all like the smell of coffee. Most people would be surprised to know that the coffee beans actually pop when they're being roasted. After about 9 minutes in the roaster, the first pop occurs. The beans crackle as they expand and double in size. They change from yellow to a light brown color, which is also referred to as cinnamon roast. After 10 to 11 minutes in the roaster, the beans reach an even brown color and oil starts to appear on the surface. Somewhere between 11 and 15 minutes, the full flavor potential begins to develop in the beans, bringing all of their attributes into balance. When we hear the beans pop a second time, it means that the coffee is almost ready. And for the roaster, a matter of seconds can mean the difference between a perfect roast and one that's not. When the coffee is released from the roaster into the cooling tray, the air becomes filled with the smell of freshly roasted coffee and the sound of applause coming from the final pops of the coffee beans. At our roasting plants, this fresh coffee is quickly cooled and conveyed to our packaging machines where it's sealed inside flavor-lock bags, ensuring that your coffee will be as fresh when you open it at home as it was when we roasted it. Our signature roast allows each coffee to showcase its unique flavor. There's truly nothing like the experience of Starbucks coffee in your cup. I'm Major Cohen. See you next time. So you've had a chance to see how coffee is grown and processed, and then we took those beautiful green seeds and we handed them over to our roaster, and the roaster took them through a process, and now it's our first chance to taste the coffee. And although this tasting will be what we call a cupping, you'll see some similarities to what you experience every day when you have your coffee at home. So let's go cup some coffee.